11th March 2023, two Africans, one Russian, were arrested in Kenya trying to fix a match here in Kenya in the Kenyan Premier League. And this started a huge conversation about match fixing, not only here in Kenya, but in Africa. You know, football is very popular, man. We love football. But what if football is fake? What if it's like a wrestling match and it's just kayfabe? You know, but normally when I hear people talking about match fixing, they always blame the players and they always blame coaches and they always blame referees. But in this particular video, we are asking ourselves, does it make sense for us to blame coaches, players, referees, while we are failing to blame the orchestrators, the criminal organizations that are originating these match fixing schemes in the first place? And then the second, does it make sense, does it make sense for us to blame these players for match fixing while we fail to ask ourselves, why are they doing these match fixing schemes? Peace and blessings, everybody. I go by the name Sensical Sense, and welcome to Does It Make Sense, the show that inspires you to think. Before I start, let me just say that I want to correct myself. In the Garvey episode, I confused Universal Negro Improvement Association and I said United Negro Improvement Association, which is wrong. It's not United, it's Universal. You know, this is a factual show and I want to make this show as factual as possible. So, my apologies. Well, match fixing. What is match fixing? Well, match fixing is when a player and or coach and or referee has been compromised by a third party. Normally these third parties are, crime syndicates. And so this is how it works. If I'm a crime syndicate and I want to approach a defender or a goalkeeper, I look for the most vulnerable country in Africa. Let's say Zimbabwe, and I say Zimbabwe, look, you're a captain of a Zimbabwe team, you're the defender. So here's the thing, you will let 3 goals penetrate and then you lose the match. We will give you this X amount of money because you've never seen that money ever in your whole entire life. So of course the player is going to agree because these guys are not being paid well. And once the fix is placed, these crime syndicates go to the betting sites. And when they go to the betting sites, this is where they bet based on what they've agreed with the player. And that's how they get the money. Now, I want you to remember this name. Wilson Raj Perumal. Wilson Raj Perumal. This is a serial match fixer, not only here in Africa but all over the world. He is said to fix over 80 to 100 matches. In fact, he is suspected to fix a World Cup qualifiers match between Kenya and Nigeria. He is a serial match fixer. And actually, according to Al Jazeera, a probe revealed that not only Asian gaming syndicates paid each player in the Zimbabwe squad $2,000 to $5,000 in cash for each match lost. Monotapo Football Club, which is in Zimbabwe, had twice impersonated the country's national team and played Malaysia in an international friendly. As planned, they lost 4-0 and were handsomely rewarded. This is what is called the Asia Gate. He was part of the famous Asia Gate in Zimbabwe, and he's a Singaporean citizen, by the way. A Singaporean citizen coming to Africa and ruining our football. And in fact, in a CNN interview, this is what he said. He said, firstly, we need to know if that particular football match has got bets. Are the books open for these matches? We look at the team. Are they corruptible? Are they vulnerable? In Zimbabwe, there was turmoil at that time. So when I approached the team captain, I brought him out. We had a meal before we bid farewell to one another. I asked if it was possible, and it's like a bait. If he bites the bait, then it's okay. He fixed over 80 to 100 matches. I'm not even making this up. And when you see that CNN interview, he doesn't have any regrets. He is so carefree. It's like, in fact, if you mute that video and you just look at his actions, you would think he was doing the right thing. Okay? And so, this case really was intriguing to me. And when I got deep into it, I realized that when he was arrested and when he was cooperating with the officials, he laid down a sketch of the whole syndicate that he was a part of. And there was Hungary was involved, Slovenia was involved, Bulgaria, Singapore, and all these syndicates were involved into lowering and ruining African football through match fixing. And when you realize he was just a mere measly little thing in this crime syndicate. He wasn't even the leader or anything. He was just a measly mere guy in this syndicate.
Where he acted more like a salesman. Yeah, he has a financier. He will go to several financiers and he might say, hey boss, I've got this game coming up. I propose we do this, but I need maybe X amount of dollars from you. Help me out. And when you look at it now, you can see how significant this Wilson Raj Perumal is, because he names other people, other syndicates, other European Eastern Bloc countries which are involved in global match fixing.
Now, it got me thinking, if all these countries are involved, and if he's just a small figure into this crime, and he fixed all these matches, including a World Cup qualifiers match, how many foreigners are doing this? At what rate? Because if he was a small guy in this, then how many are there? And how many are doing it? And at what rate are these match fixing incidences happening here in African football? My POV today is very simple. Very simple. Pay these players well. There's no way around it. I hear governments and African leaders and African sports ministers saying, "Oh, we need to form legislation." What do you mean legislation? Legislation is nothing without these players being paid well. Okay, let's say you form legislation today. Then what? The crime syndicates will just grow better and better and better and more smarter and smarter and smarter. So pay them well. Pay them well. And then those other things will follow. Because let me tell you something, we don't really value football. We love football, but we don't really value it as a business entity here in Africa. You see, the problem with Africa is that we always think that farming or banking or all these other sectors are the sectors that can bring money to Africa. But first world countries, their biggest exports is media, is sports, is entertainment. So what are you telling me? Oh, we need to focus on these sectors. Sports is the future. Entertainment is the future. Invest in entertainment. Invest in sports. Pay these players well. Work with the teams so that you can know where the problem is. If it's branding, governments help them with branding. If it's stadiums, help them with stadiums. Just be hands on deck when it comes to football, please. Otherwise, match fixing will continue happening. Football will be even more fake and fake and fake. Because let me tell you something, football is fake. Here in Africa, most of it is fake. I see it. I watch. It's mostly fake. I can tell. And I'm sure you can tell as well. So let's pay these players well. Pay these players well. No way around it. Period. So anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, less is more, and please, please, please think before it becomes illegal. See you on the other side.